Livestocking.
Yeah, all right. Good afternoon once again. My name still remains Akimbobola Akinwemoye. Welcome to the second session of our training. Like I promised, I'm going to make a video for the how to brood chicks session. Now I told you that brooding is the management of chicks, male chicks, poults, providing everything that they need while they are young as they hold, and also giving them the water, giving them the feed, the warmth, providing it warm for them from day one to, for broilers, maybe 2 weeks, for pullets, which we usually call layers, for 6 to 8 weeks. For poults, that is turkey, you can do that also for 4 weeks. So, brooding is management of male chicks for this period. So while you are brooding, there are some things, basic things that you do. You have to manage the temperature of the brooding house. You have to manage the feeding. You have to manage the water intake. And you have to manage their behavior. I mean, in terms of taking care of them. When you see the chicks are showing some abnormal behaviors, you have to know what you need to do to take care of whatever the situation is. So while you brood in the breeder house. We call it a brooder house. I use brooding house or brooder. So I'm interchanging with brooder house or brooding house. But a brooding house or a brooder is where day-old chicks or poults are kept for brooding. During this brooding stage, you know, chicks while they hatch from the egg, they don't have this regulatory regulatory system of mechanism that will allow them to easily manage their body temperature. So they don't have feathers that they can use to protect themselves from heat. So it means that you have to provide an external or an artificial source of heat for them to keep them warm. You know, if they are with their mothers, the mother will always brood them. I mean, will keep them under wings. But since they don't have mothers, you have to provide. You are their mother, so you have to provide those things for them. So if you want to brood, you have to get a brooding house. Yeah, first and foremost, you need a brooding house, a brooding house where you will keep them. Now, the brooding house is nothing special, but where you keep just like a building where you keep them. But make sure that it is a conducive place for them. Now, this pen I am is where I used to brood my broiler chicks. This is where I used to brood the broilers you are seeing now. They will be 14 weeks and 14 days. I mean 2 weeks today. They are 14 weeks today. So this is where they were brooded. This is where they were brooded 2 weeks ago. I mean, they are still in the brooder now. Since in broiler system we have all in, all out. So I'm using an all in, all out. So they are going to grow up in this brooder house anyway. So now from here they will go to be slaughtered or sold. So this is the brooder house. You can see they are here. These are my broiler chicks. You see them on the floor. So if you observe, you look at the building, you will see something like a covering. You see looking at the covering. Yes, if you are building your brooder house, you must make sure that you have windows, or should be netted like this. And this place is netted. If you can see from the background, you see that it is netted. So, but I have something that will cover. I use a trampoline material. You can use nylon to cover the whole openings. You cover the openings, the major openings while you brood. Reason for doing this is while you keep the birds inside, you are preventing cold breeze from coming in, while the heater, the source of heat that is in the brooder house, the heat that it produces will not escape outside. So it will be retained within the brooder house. It will be retained within the brooder house. So it will not allow you to waste the energy that's supposed to be kept or retained in the brooder house. So when you cover it up, you prevent the rain from coming in, cold breeze from coming in. But make sure that while you are covering your brooder, make sure there are still some few openings for ventilation. For example, maybe the door you can still open the door, though you may let it, so it's fresh air can still come in, while the exhausted air and carbon dioxide can still find its way out. So like I said, the brooder is always covered, but while I brood, I still have some spaces for air to go out, but it's just be small space. So it might be a small hole, or you can still raise part of the covering tarpaulin to allow air to go out. So now, if you are brooding your chicks, before you get or you collect your chicks after you have placed order for them, you must make sure that the brooding house is prepared before they come. At least make sure that the brooder house has been cleaned and disinfected. You can use a very good sanitizer, disinfectant rather, to wash the whole pen. If you can fumigate, you can also fumigate the place. So if the place has been used before to brood chicken or raise chicken, you must wash them thoroughly. Wash the floor, sweep, pack all the used or the dirty wood shavings or litter or manure that is there. Pack everything. You wash the floor with soap, any of the detergent. You use any of the common detergent. But while I do my washing, while I wash with soap, I add Moriga disinfectant to the water. So the disinfectant will be able to kill the microorganisms that are on the floor. I also use the disinfectant solution to spray the walls, some of the equipment, the floor after the washing. So I will allow the place to dry. The whole house to dry. And though I don't usually fumigate, I don't use fumigant, but the place has been heavily used, you can get a fumigant, close the whole pen, the brooding house, close the whole place, let it be sealed, then you apply your fumigant. So when you fumigate, you close the door, leave for 2 weeks. Ideally, you leave for 2 weeks so that the fumigant will do its work. So after that, you can open up the place for fresh air to come in, and you do this 2 days before the chicken comes, before the chicks arrive. So you make sure that the place is well cleaned and fumigated. That is very, very important. Fumigated or disinfected, whatever you want. Just the major reason or the objective is to be able to clean and reduce the microorganism load in the house. That is the objective. So you want to play cleaning as if you yourself want to live there. So after the cleaning, you arrange all the equipment you need. In that brooding house. You arrange all the equipment, the feeder, the drinkers. If you are using nipple drinker, let it be installed. You get the brooder, all the source of heat. Some we use a charcoal stove. Some we use kerosene stove. Some we use a gas brooder. Like I myself, I use a gas brooder. I will show you before the end of this video, the materials. I'll show you each one I use. So you need a feeding tray, a round feeding tray for the chicks. You need a fountain feeder or a nipple drinker. They will use it too. You will need a source of feed, which I call the brooder. You will need buckets. You will need bowls. You will need sponge. You will need drums where you keep water. You will also need matches or lighter. You will need a thermometer or a 2-in-1 thermometer. You will need an hygrometer, which will be used to measure the humidity. Which we use to measure the humidity. And luckily we have 2-in-1 thermometer, so hygrometer. So it's in the market too, and you can also get that on Afrimax. So these are the things basic things you need in the brooding house. Now, you get all these things ready before the chicks come. You get them ready. Now, after a day before the chick arrive on the farm, before they arrive on the farm, make sure you test all the equipment, especially your brooder. I mean, when I say brooder in this, I mean your source of heat. If you are using a gas brooder, make sure you check and see it is working fine. If there is any issue, rectify it before the arrival of your chick. So you make sure that everything is working. Check your nipple drinker. If they are not leaking, make sure that the water is flowing well. If you use your finger to push or shake the nipple, make sure that water is coming so that you don't starve your chick of water. So you check all the equipment, make sure they are working. It is very important so that make sure they are working. Now, after you are sure that all the equipment material needed for the brooding are working fine, the next thing for you to do is to get wood shavings. Please don't use sawdust. Get wood shavings. The wood shavings are those people that produce or do scrape the surfaces of wood, of plank. That's where you usually get wood shavings. Just like when you shave, not sawdust now. Sawdust is different from wood shavings. Sawdust, I will show you an example of the wood shavings. It's different from the sawdust. There are two. Because if you use sawdust, you have a respiratory issue. With your sheep, we have respiratory issues. If you use wood shaving, will be able to absorb the moisture in the feces of the chicken. I mean, which some people call poo. So you absorb it better so that the open will not start smelling immediately or after some day. So the wood shaving will be able to absorb the moisture and still keep the floor dry before the whole place gets messy. So you get the wood shavings. You spread the wood shavings on the floor of the brooding house. You spread the wood shavings on the floor of the brooding house. And after you do that, some people, which I don't do, some people will still want to use newspaper on the floor. They will spread it on the floor and put the feed, which they will put the feed of chicken. Anyway, before the arrival of chicken, just place the newspaper on the wood shavings. Place it there. The reason for doing so is actually because some believe the chicks will not be able to go to the feeder to pick the feed. So when they are on the floor, on the newspaper, they will still be able to pick some for just 1 or 2 days before they start using the feeder. But anyway, from my past experience, chicks when they get to the farm, when you place the feed, they will definitely go to the feeder and pick the feed. So if you want to use newspaper, no problem. If you don't want to use, there's no problem. Just make sure that you are using a feeding tray. I will show you all the materials that you'll be needing for brooding. I'll show you everything that you'll be needing. So on the D-Day, that is the day the chicks are coming, make sure that 2 hours or 3 hours before the arrival of the chicks, make sure you light up the brooder, the source of heat, the brooder, so that it will be able to produce the heat needed. Sorry, I was just hanging my phone. So it will produce the heat needed before the arrival of the chicks. So make sure 3 hours before the chicks arrive, you light up the place, cover the whole brooding house cover the whole brooding house. So the place with the heat produced by the heater will keep the place warm. We keep the whole pen warm. So 3 hours before the arrival of the chicks, 2 to 3 hours before the arrival of the chicks, make sure the place is warm. You light up the brooding brooder, or your stove, or your charcoal pot, whatever you want to use. Now, please, you need a thermometer. So the thermometer will be able to tell you the current temperature in the pen, in the brooding house. So when you check it after you have lighted the place up, please make sure it is around 35 to 39. Let's 35 to 39 degrees centigrade. 39 to 35 degrees centigrade. Make sure it is around that. So when you do that, you make sure that it is around that range. If it's not up to that, you can increase the number of heater in the pen. You increase the number of heater in the pen, and as they grow daily, you can reduce the heat. You start and adjust the intensity of the heat in the pen. So when your chicks, when they arrive, you unbox the carton. You unbox them from the carton. Usually you have 51 chicks in a carton. One extra is 50, but they will always add one extra. Sometimes you may find 2 due to the error from the person maybe loading the carton. Sometimes you are having -2, like 48 or 9. Well, you accept it that way, but usually sometimes we see 53, sometimes we get 48. So just unbox the sheets immediately they get to your pen. You take stock, you open a record where you'll be writing whatever the daily activities, such as the mortality, the feed, quantity of feed given, the medication or vaccine given for that day. So you have a record for that. So while you unbox them, before the birds arrive, you would have arranged, like I said, even before, you would have arranged the feeding tray. So you put feed there, you arrange the water also, let the water be there. Now, on the day or few hours before the chicks arrive, or as soon as they arrive, you mix multivitamin and antibiotics, a mid, not very strong antibiotics, a mid antibiotics for them. I use Cipro. So we have a lot of brand of Cipro, but most of the brand you see Cipro will be part of their ingredients. I mean the active ingredient used in making that. But it's a Cipro. You just go to the vet or whoever store you say you want to buy Cipro antibiotics. So you give them for the first 5 days Cipro plus multivitamin. For the first 5 days they are going to be taking that. So you mix that with their water, the Cipro, you mix with their water and the antibiotics. The Cipro antibiotics and the multivitamin. You mix them together, you mix in the water. Sometimes some people add glucose, give glucose to that because of the stress, for them to have strength. While I don't use glucose, you can also use sugar. I just use my multivitamin and the antibiotics, and my best always do fine. So you mix that in the water, you add feed onto that tray. Please ensure that you don't put a lot of feed in the tray. Just like they are new chicks, they are just coming to life. So you just tease them with few crumbles of the feed on the tray. They will pick with time, they will adjust to it, and they start eating more. Don't load the whole tray with feed. They will even waste your feed. So you teach them, you just spread few quantity of feed onto the tray while they start it. So as they finish that, you add more until you now get to a particular quantity of feed you'll be giving them a day. But it is always, the rule is for the first 4 weeks of their life, first 7 days of their life, you give feed or round the clock. That's what we call it ad libitum. You feed unrestricted. You give them the morning, you give them the afternoon, you give them. They just have access to feed all through for the next 7 days. So after that 7 days, you start to ration their food. Give them maybe morning, give them later in the evening, or when you are close to the evening, and you allow them to feed that, and feed for the night, and you start again the following morning. So when you do that, you feed them. Like I said, you add Cipro, the antibiotic. Why, if you can't get Cipro, you can also use the antibiotic that you have. Though it's not really ideal to use stronger antibiotics because they are still young, or Cipro is still need and still do the work. So even you have other antibiotics, it will definitely work. If it's oxytetracycline, though oxytetracycline is strong, it will still work for them. There's no problem about that. You might just reduce the dosage that you'll be giving them. So now, in case you don't have a thermometer and you want to know if the heat is too much or the heat is too much for your chicks, there are some behaviors that you observe or some things that you need to see if the temperature is too much. Now, one thing, if the temperature of the brooding house is much, one thing you will notice that your chicks, we start moving away from the source of heat. You see them, they will start moving away from the source of heat. Under the heater, you will see them, they will not be there. Yeah, let me put it into lighting is important in your brooding house. Lighting, make sure there is enough light there so that the chicks will be able to see what is on the floor. So you can use an energy saving bulb. You can use sometimes just as additional source of heat. Some people use the yellow bulbs to produce more, maybe the 200 watts. So if you have that, please, you can use it. If you are not considering the power, or if you are using PP meters, whatever kind of country we are, so you can use that. If you have no problem with that, you can use that. If you do the two things, it will illuminate light for the chickens to be able to see what is on the floor, and it will also produce heat for the chicks too. So you see them moving away from the source of heat if the heat is too much. You see them, and another thing you also notice that they will start gasping or panicking. You just see them, they will open their beak, you see them, their wings, they will bring it up, trying to like something that want to swell up, and they will start panicking or gasping for something that is going to be there. When you see your chicken that is doing that, you notice is a sign that the heat is too much for them. So what you do in this case is that you reduce the number of source of heat or the brooder in your pen. You reduce that, or you open up the covering. Like I say, I use tarpaulin. You can use nylon. You open it, part of it, so that the heat will escape. But most of the time, if you have like 3 or 4 brooder in brooders or brooding source of heat in the pen, you can just remove maybe 1 or 2, so that it will reduce the heat or the temperature in the pen. Now, when usually, like myself, while I bring my chicks usually come late in the evening or in the night. I have to run the gas brooder from that time to the morning, late in the afternoon. When I see that the sun is up, when the sun is up, the temperature of the heat in the pen will usually increase. So in that case, what I do is I will only put on one. I will put off the others. And if I see that the heat is still much, I will put off everything. So I will only rely on the natural heat from the sun, because the place is enclosed. So the heat that are coming in will be trapped in here. So it will also serve the same purpose for us. So brooding is always important for every chicken. The way or the chicks are managed in the brooding stage will always affect their performance at the end, either broilers, either layers, either turkey. So if you don't brood well, you will not achieve a good result, and you may even lose most of your chicken if they are not well brooded. So temperature management is very, very important. You must make sure that they have the right temperature. For the first day, let's say 35 to 39 degrees centigrade, and you can monitor it, reduce by maybe 1 degree centigrade every day. But while we don't have an automatic control system, control system in Nigeria, or most of the pens that we run here, our farm we have here in Nigeria, just use your initiative. Just look at it, see, is this thing too much? You look at the sign. Now, if the heat is too low, you see all of them coming together. You see them coming together, maybe under or around or under the source of heat. Either you are using the globe or bulb, you see most of them under there. They will come together, shoulder together, just to use the little heat that is coming from there and the one produced by their body. So if you see that something like that is happening, you increase the number of eater or number of brooder in the pen. So you see them coming together under one source of heat, you make sure that you add more of your increase the intensity of the heat produced in the pen. Now, if you see most of them in one corner, maybe in one particular place, and some places are free, maybe some corners are free, it means that maybe in that particular place that you see there are a few chicks there, maybe cold air is blowing through that place. Maybe cold air is blowing through that place. So it means what you are going to do is you have to look at the environment, look at that area, and make sure that the place is not open. If it's open, you close it up so that you don't lose heat outside. And sometimes it might just be natural somehow. Sometimes my chicks do that, and when everything is okay, I don't really bother myself more. What I just make sure I do is that they spread evenly and they are eating and doing fine. So when I have this in place, I don't have any problem. I will just make sure that they are doing fine. That's the most important. I will check the temperature. I will look at the signs they are giving me in terms of the arrangement. If they are arranging very well, it means that everything is normal. But if I see them moving closer to the source of heat, it's an evidence that the heat is low for them. So I just need to increase. If I see them moving just to a particular corner, then it means that something is happening. I will just ensure that there's no space that is open where cold breeze is coming in. So those are the basic things you need to know when you are brooding. So like I said, you make sure that you feed them 247 for the first 7 days. They must be fed 247 so that they will be able to grow very well, and heat should be adequate. The reason why you have to, another thing the heat does is, while they are hatched, they have this like a cord that connects them to the yolk. So when the heat is not enough, or it's not adequate, just like babies when they born, when a woman gives birth, the umbilical cord of the newborn, they will use this hot water to try and press the place so that it will heat up. They will be able to heal up. Same thing with chicks. If you don't give enough heat, then it means that will be inflamed, and if it is inflamed, they will come down with omphalitis, which is the inflammation of the umbilical cord, and it will kill them quickly. So it is another thing. That's one of the reasons why we also give them the antibiotics, so that it will prevent the infections through the umbilical cord. So I think you have gotten the basic information about brooding. Now, after this video, I'm going to show you some of the equipment or material that you'll be needing for your brooding. So I will just take a video, I'll show you some of them to be able to have an idea of what you are buying if you are starting your own poultry, or when you want to brood, the things that you need to buy or you to have a successful brooding. And I hope with this video you are able to learn one or two things about brooding, being able to brood successfully. Now, let me chip this in. When your birds, you see them growing more feathers, then you just reduce the number of heat provided or the duration of heat provided. Maybe you just provide the heat in the night, overnight. When it's the morning, you put it off. And when you see that, and you observe that the more they produce feather, the lesser the need for external source of heat. So that you don't waste money on fueling, maybe buying gas or kerosene. As you see them that they are going for broilers, maybe after 2 weeks, you just put off all the source of heat. For myself, after the 10 days, I reduce it, and I may even stop. But I make sure that I cover the open after the while I don't use the heater. I still make sure that I cover the place so that cold will not get frozen, or the wound that will be affected by cold that comes down in the late night. So that is all the secret. Brooding is not a big task. It's very easy. Although while I don't have very new chicks around, maybe when I get a new stock, I'll be able to show you what all the basic things. I don't have them around. I will do it next time. I will just post it in the group. So thank you for your time. After this video, the next video I'm going to be doing, I'll be showing you the materials you'll be needing to brood before we move to the next topic. Thank you for watching the video. Yeah.